Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Welcome back to the Heart-Led Business Show. Today we have the delightful Kathi Burns zooming in with us, a board-certified professional organizer and personal stylist. Kathi has spent 2 decades helping others break free from the chains of chaos. With her heart-led business, she brings magic to the mundane, turning clutter into clarity and confusion into creativity. Get ready to dive into her journey of entrepreneurial excellence and discover how to organize not just your space, but your heart and soul too. Kathi, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, I am so happy to be here. This is going to be a great conversation for sure.
It absolutely will be, because I love organizing. I should say I love things that are organized. I can't think of something that's more heart-led than just clearing the clutter and of the mind, of the space, and just allowing you to be in your zone of genius. So I can't wait to dive into your story and share it with the listeners here. But first, I always like to ask, what's your definition of a heart-led business?
Well, I believe that a heart-led business is when you have a business that aligns with your soul's purpose or dharma as such. I always say that your dharma is doing something that you love that you could do standing on your head asleep. In other words, it's a natural inborn skill set. And it took me 40 years to figure out what are my inborn skill sets that I can bring to the world with joy. So I think that finding something that comes very natural to you is like a dharma, a soul's type of purpose. And when you're on purpose, your messaging is clear, your mind is clear, and it's easy, right? When you're leading from the heart, you're leading from your soul, which means that it should be easy and it should be flowing easily from you to other people.
So when I'm doing my books, I'm definitely not in the zone. So I'm not being heart-led at that point. Is that what you're saying?
No, there's always aspects of the business. And I love what you said earlier, Tom, that, you love being organized, just not getting organized. That is so typical of all of my clients. It's like everyone's to be organized. They just don't want to get organized. There's aspects of our business that we don't really like to do, but sometimes we have to do it. But you know what? Sometimes we can delegate them.
That's absolutely right.
What you hate, you delegate. And if it's below your pay grade, delegate it.
That just makes financial sense, right?
For sure. But we don't do it. Like we don't let go of the reins because we're entrepreneurs and we're in charge.
Absolutely. I want to dig into that statement, but first I want to get back to the Dharma and the skill sets that come naturally to you. And I love that. And you said, how long did it take you to figure out?
40 years.
See, and it took me 50. I'm in the remedial organizing area.
Sometimes your biggest skills are elusive and they hide from you. That's what happened to me. I didn't know what my superpower was until I had a year off to introspect and figure out what's Kathi about. And I think it takes space. My original company was called Add Space to Your Life because if I would not have I had a series of events. I had a year off to reinvent myself. And if I had not had that space, I would not have figured this out. I would not be sitting here today as a professional organizer. No way, no how. It would have never come to me.
Why do you think that is? Having that space allowed you to do that?
Well, when you have space, you can think clearly. When you can think clearly, you can be on purpose. When you're on purpose, you're living your dharma. When you're living your dharma, you have freedom. So it all goes together. But if you don't have space, then you can't move forward. My first book, How to Master Your Muck, was called Stuck in the Muck of Your Stuff as my working title. And I was literally stuck in the muck of my title. It took me 3 years to publish that book because it was so catchy, right? And when it turned into mastery, How to Master Your Muck, the book got published like that. So there's all these small little things that catch us up in life. I always say a seemingly insignificant thing can have larger than life results, shifts, mental patterns, words, all that good stuff. And oftentimes they're very small. I didn't know what my superpower was until I had that year off.
And your superpower is
Change. I
change.
love change.
Most people don't like change.
Exactly. That's why I have a job. I've
Oh,
had
well,
7 careers, and I love change, and I
mm,
change all the time. And what I found, and this is the funny part about the whole Dharma thing, right, Tom?
yeah,
I found out that I love change. I thrive in change. I'm not afraid of change. Change happens every day anyhow, so you might as well embrace it and go for it. So it's my superpower, and most people are afraid of change. What I do as a professional organizer is I start on the external non-scary stuff, and I help people shift and change and release on their environmental level. And once they are able to let go, they can change faster, quicker, easier, with more grace. I always say letting go is a muscle. Most people don't want to let go. They don't want anything to change. They want it to be just like it is, right? But if
right.
they start letting go of things, and that's how I started my career 20 years ago, was like on the physical decluttering, right? If they
Mm,
learn how to let go and declutter and say bye-bye to those things that no longer serve them, then they can do the same thing with life. When life hits them, they can actually say, oh yeah, it wasn't that scary. I can change, I can shift, I can see a different way.
yeah. So you just ease them into it. Start with something that's simple. And I love that.
And
Well,
most people's letting go muscles are atrophied.
yeah.
They're not used to letting go. They're used to holding on tight and not letting status quo, letting everything stay the same, right? But then once they exercise their letting go muscles, they're better able to move forward with grace and with ease and with flow. That's what my job is, being a heart led, is to help people learn how to let go with ease, grace, and flow, and no fear. Get rid of the fear, because change is going to happen anyhow. So you might as well learn how to be powerful and work through it and actually make change for yourself
Yeah. Yeah.
intentionally.
I mean, you're not going to die from making change, usually. If you change to go in front of a truck or walk in front of a truck, I guess I would do it. But generally speaking, it's not that dangerous to make change. So it's that certainty, being
Mhm.
uncertain. One of the TV shows that I love to watch, or used to love to watch, is Hoarders. So have you experienced that in your organizing life?
So Dorothy, the producer, is a friend of mine and a colleague. And hoarding is a whole different ball of wax. So I'm a board certified professional organizer. I've been doing this 20 years. I am not a certified hoarding expert professional. There are credentials for that.
Ah,
Dorothy does that. If I run into someone who's a hoarder, because hoarding is a disease, just like
uh,
alcoholism.
okay.
And so what you'll see on the hoarder show is that there's always someone besides a professional organizer. There's usually a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a social worker, there's medications, there's sometimes city codes people. So it's a whole huge thing. When I run across a hoarder, I will refer them on to my girlfriends who are certified in as professional organizers and hoarders, because I like people to graduate. My goal is to have them get empowered, graduate, move forward, maybe talk to them in 5 years when they have something else that they need to like move through, right, and remove whatever mucks like they're up against, call me back, but I like them to graduate. Hoarders don't really graduate. It's just an ongoing thing.
Like they have to manage the disease? Is that in like a alcoholic is always an alcoholic, you just manage it.
Through medication, through support. It's funny because the professional organizers that are qualified to work with hoarders, they're generally the retired nurses or the social workers. Those are the people that are serve them really well. One of my best girlfriends loves working with hoarders because that's her jam, and
Sure.
she gets it and she loves them and she wants to help them. It's a definite heart thing,
Oh, yeah.
because oftentimes it can be environmentally harmful.
Yes, of course, yeah, I've seen those shows, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine being one of the cleanup crews."
Yeah. Yeah.
But then for you, adding space, I love that, by the way, and it brings up both the physical space, but the mental space and all that spiritual space as well. What type of transformations have you seen from your clients in terms of going from what they would consider disorganized to now organized and everything in place?
I have so many stories. So what someone that just came to my mind, and I have so many stories, but this particular lady came to my mind. So she was a very successful graphic artist. She worked from home. She called me in to help her with her paper flow and with her digital chaos and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And we're working together and we got all of her business organized as such. And I always like to talk to them about their long-term goals. Like, what do they want their life to look like in the future?
Yeah.
And it came up that she really wanted a life mate. And she didn't have a life mate. She had won one for 5 years. She was out of a relationship. And
Mm.
so I said, let's give me a tour. So we toured her apartment at the time, and she had this gigantic wall-to-wall closet, like 6-door closet,
Oh, wow.
completely full. Her
Oh,
bedside tables were overflowing. She had a king-size bed.
oh,
Bedside tables were overflowing. She wasn't a hoarder, but she was packed to the jam, right? Where's room for a mate? Where's mate gonna fit into your life? And she said, "Oh, good point." So what we did was we cleared out 3 feet of space. We got rid of a bunch of clothes, cleared out 3 feet of space, left 3 feet open in her closet for hanging clothes. Bedside tables clear, minus an alarm clock and a plant or something like that, and the drawer is empty, right? Then I went on my merry way. Well, she gets with me. I know I get with her about, I think 6 months later, and I'm saying, "What's going on?" She goes, "Oh, I'm in Colorado. I met a man and we moved in together." She added space for the man. You have to have space if you want new things to come into your life. That's why I love what I do. I've had another person who their business was just stopped at a standstill, and I looked at their desktop. I couldn't even see the desktop, actually. It was so full of icons and graphs and all that, and so we started clearing, and we started making order, and we started putting things away and throwing things out and trying to get the desktop so we could actually see it. We couldn't even see the mouse actually on her desk at that time. So we cleared it all out, and she landed a really big client. In fact, what happened was she didn't need all the small little clients that she had been working on. She had one client that set her up. She's organized, streamlined, has that perfect client, but she doesn't have to keep on the wagon of trying to find clients. And she's servicing this client with ease and flow and grace because now she can see her desktop. She can find her files. She can be really articulate and help that client in the way that she needed to help them.
it reminds me of this old cartoon I used to see. It was like a cluttered desk is a clear mind, which a cluttered mind would be a clear desk. That doesn't make sense. So it was,
Well, I have clients who will argue. I remember sitting in the law department of Semper Energy, and I'm speaking with this lawyer, and he's just piles
well,
everywhere of
they're
paper.
famous for that.
But he's, "No, I'm organized. I know what's in every single pile." And I'm like, "Okay, great. How much RAM is this taking in your brain to remember what pile and what layer deep is the pile for, where is your mental capabilities now? You're spending all your mental capabilities on trying to remember what's in each pile. Why don't you free up your mind to actually, you want to say this, to do law, right?"
You're right.
What piles are symbols of things left undone. So
Yes.
basically, any pile is a lack of decision. Okay. You're
Mhm.
either avoiding it, you're not deciding, or you just plain don't know what to do with it. That's the only reason that a pile exists in your life at all is indecision, procrastination, or avoidance. He was thinking that he was really efficient. I'm professional. I know where things are. I don't care, really. That's not where you should be using your brain power.
Yeah. No, that's so right. And that when you say that brings me back to like email inbox, right? That's
Mhm.
famous clutter. And I just invested in a program called Superhuman, and it's kind of AI driven email thing, but it forces, oh, I shouldn't say force, but encourages you to go to inbox zero. And
Okay.
and what I love about it is that there's things in my inbox that I was like, yeah, I'm going to get to that, but it's not
Mhm.
important right now. But it's still in
Mhm.
the inbox. So it still creates that stress of, oh my God, there's still email. So their process is you delay it. You just, okay, when do I want to work on this? Oh, Friday? I'm going to push it into the Friday category. And so it goes out of the inbox and comes back on Friday when
Mhm.
you want to work on it. And
Mhm.
I've been working that system, and granted, I'm not always inbox zero, but it's like 20 emails in my inbox,
Nice.
which I'm
Nice.
like, I'm so proud of that. And what's really interesting is I don't generally look for the old emails. I don't have to. They were there anyway, but I was like, I was using all this mental capacity, but also at computer capacity to store all this stuff. And I was
Mhm.
like, I guess I don't need that. And it did absolutely free up space in my head.
Yeah, when you said that, I was chuckling to myself because I think inbox zero is really a hard goal to meet
Mhm.
unless you have something like the superhuman program. But typically, and I'm teaching this in my Google Workspace, typically, if your inbox has over 100 or 1,000, or so my clients have 89,000 emails, they're using their inbox as a task list. And it's not designed to be a task list.
No.
It's meant to be an informational management system where you delegate and move things out into other areas. So if you're drowning in inbox, it means you're using it in a capacity that's not really designed for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody else explained to me too that the emails that you receive are other people's call to action, not your own. So like, why are you worried about all is it really affecting you? They're pushing that onto you rather than you accepting it sometimes.
I'm glad you know that. I teach that all the time. So anytime you go into your inbox, you're being reactionary. Unless
Yes.
you're
Yes.
sending something, you're not being proactive. You're reacting because there's not a single email in your inbox that does not want you to do something. There's not a single email that you could show me that doesn't want me to do something. Even your email that says, "Hey, here's the link to join the show."
Yeah.
Call to action.
Yeah.
So you have to realize that you want to be as proactive as you can in business all throughout the day and be less reactive. So
Right.
I'm continually challenging my clients to only hit their inbox twice a day at the most. Don't
Yes.
keep your inbox open. Don't live in your inbox. You'll go off onto some trail. Back in the day, I used to say I'd end up in Zappos buying shoes, but you know what? They always want you to do something in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, just for the listeners, if you get an email from myself or Kathy, those are important emails. So don't delete those. Must go to the inbox and keep them
Star
forever.
them. Star
Right.
them.
Start, archive, save, whatever.
No, I say star them. They're
Oh,
very important. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And color code, you could color code too. That's awesome.
That's funny.
So I always like to talk a little bit about the business side of having a heart-led business in terms of the financials and just running a business and the business side. Because a lot of people are scared of having a heart-led business and that is, oh, I don't know if I can make money or should I charge money for this? So how
Mhm.
have you overcome that internal struggle of I want to really help people and I want to make some money doing it?
The way I look at it is this: if I'm not making money, I can't contribute to the world. And if I don't charge for my services, or they were not valuable to that client. The
Right.
client has to have an investment in the progress of their journey. And if they don't have to invest with me, if they invest with me, that means they're committed to the journey and the process of change.
Yeah.
Right? They have to put their 2 cents in to feel like, "Yes, I'm actually going to do this." If you don't charge and everything is complimentary, you're not number 1, you're not able to give back and give to the places that nurture your soul, but most importantly, you're depowering the client. You're not allowing them to be invested in the process. In my opinion, you're doing a disservice to
Mhm.
not charge them. On
Yeah.
their end and on your end. Obviously, you have to make money and run a business, but you've gotta have a commitment from the client so that they're invested and they will do the work that's important to make the change of whatever you're helping them do.
Yeah, absolutely. And this reminds me of just recently, I purchased 2 different programs just to kind of brush up on Facebook ads because it's over my head. But
Yeah.
so one program was $47 online and it looked really good. I bought it and I didn't go through it. It's still somewhere. I don't know. I don't even have the user ID and password probably anymore. I don't know. It was only like 3 or 4 months ago. But then there was another program that I bought and that was $7,000.
Mhm.
Guess what I went through very quickly?
You learned, you made change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for the other business owner because I'm sure that program was probably equivalent, maybe. I don't know. I didn't go through it because it's too cheap.
It's such a good point. Such a good point right there. And if you want to be of value, you need to be valuable.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's what I find with a lot of my clients are artistic, creative women entrepreneurs, and they feel bad charging money. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you should feel bad not charging money. You're being a disservice to your clients by not getting them invested in the process. Just like you say, 47 bucks. How vested are you for making shades? Nah, not so
Yeah.
much, right? Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
I'm saying this to myself too,
Of
because I charge high value for my consulting, but my online products, I'm like, I should be charging more, but I don't because it's that fear thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Nobody will buy it at that price point. Is it really that valuable? It's all that head trash going through. Yeah, totally. I
right.
totally understand that.
We all go there in one line or the other, but we have to sit ourselves down, have a girl, big boy talk to ourselves and say, look, we are valuable. We are of value. And the more we charge, the more powerful we are as a
Yeah.
coach, client, consultant, whatever.
I think that you said it at the beginning, like it enables you to give to the world as
Yeah,
well. If you're a charitable person, you love to give things away. Gosh, you got to make some money to be able to give it away.
exactly.
How did you transition? So, did you work before in a profit-led business versus a heart-led business?
You know what? I have always followed my heart.
Oh,
So way, way back in the day, and I've always been woo, but like
yeah,
I never really talked about it and for a long time. But the beginning of one of my first jobs, fell in love with sailing. So I became a US Coast Guard licensed captain so that I could get paid to sail. So I did that. Right. And so I was just off sailing around, making money and being carefree and all that. But I remember sitting in the middle of the Gulf Stream at night on watch, thinking about everything that was back in my apartment. And I'm like, wow, none of that is even relevant. So I'd get home and I'd purge. Every time I got back to shore, I'd just throw stuff out. Then later I became a travel writer because I wanted to get paid to be a tourist. So I became a travel writer. I was on the road 42 weeks a year and living out of a suitcase,
yeah,
loving it. That's a perfect thing to do in your 20s and early 30s. Just travel. Let's get paid to travel. Did
yeah.
that. So that was my heart was leading me into this vagabond thing, right? But then I get back to my apartment and I purge. Then I got into an area where it wasn't as much heart led. It was let's make money. And
Mm,
that's where things started to get like that for me.
wow.
And a lot of things happen, and
Like
that's how I
friction.
ended up having
It's like friction, right? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
friction.
Was it?
Yeah, you can tell it's not water over a rock. My husband and I have that idea that things should ease flow,
Yeah.
right? Like water over a rock. And if it's like water over a canyon, some
No, it's not going to work real well.
So, yeah, there have been times the one chunk of my life I think about where I wasn't heart led and I wasn't doing my heart song and just being in on purpose was during that time frame.
Uh,
And fortunately, world events happened and 9/11 happened and we lost our whole publishing agency and our whole printing plant and all that good stuff, which was a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise because we weren't happy. It was my husband and I doing business and we weren't happy doing what we were doing. So that freed us up. That's how I ended up with a year off because I've been working since I was 17, right?
oh,
Just work,
yeah,
right? But
yeah.
following my bliss, but then when I hit that, then I had a year off to reinvent myself. And because I didn't have to work then is the only reason that I had the clarity to figure out that I love change. And what can I do about that? What can I do? What kind of job can you do that you love change? Help others change.
Yeah. Then you're in it all the time. I
Yeah,
love
right.
that.
I'm in it all the time. I love helping people change
Yeah.
because I see the metamorphosis. I am story after story. They get the guy, they get the car, they get the raise, they get the house. Whatever they want that they get, if they add enough space, they get it
Yep.
with intention, right? You add space with intention and you get where you're trying to go.
Yep. Oh, I love that. Yeah. And the other thing that I want to really emphasize for our listeners too is that giving that mental space. Now, you don't necessarily need to take a whole year off,
No.
but only taking a day or a morning to just sit
Mhm.
and reflect and just let the mind just go where it goes. You get so much clear. I know I get a lot of clarity by doing that. And I think even like Warren Buffett, I think there's a story of him where I think it's on Thursday mornings, his calendar is just blocked out. And he goes to the barbershop for 4 hours, which I don't think he's obviously not getting his haircut for 4 hours. He's almost as bald as I am, but it's his time to think and reflect and just not have the pressures of people asking questions, him like doing things. And I think he's a billionaire, so it probably worked well for him.
Yeah, he's chit-chatting. And I find the same thing, Tom. If I set aside time at the beginning of my day, after my coffee, which seems weird, to then just get quiet, and even if it's just for 5 minutes, my whole day flows better.
Yep.
It's magical because you don't really think that anything's happening, but then you can look back at your day going, wow, that was just like ease and flow, ease and flow. You're much more tapped to know, turn left, turn right, go straight, faster, slower. You know internally because you've given your mind that space to do its thing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. More people need to do that for sure. And keep the stress levels down, keep you running in, just getting new ideas and running the business just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kathi, this has been just a fantastic conversation. I've loved it. I hate to cut it short, but we are at our time. But tell us, how can people learn more about what you're doing and potentially work with you?
Easy to work with me. Just go to chatwithkathi.com, Kathi, chatwithkathi.com. I would love to speak with anyone who's, what am I supposed to be doing, or where I'm stuck? And I'll help you identify what might be in your way. Because the reason that professional organizers have a job like myself is that we are an objective observer. So I'll ask a lot of questions to see, where do you want to go? Where are you at right now? And I can really quickly identify where you might be stuck. What muck are you stuck in?
Right.
And once you identify that, once you put your lens on it, it's much, much easier to do something about it. But like I say, it took me 40 years to figure out, what is Kathi's superpower? Change. That's so elusive, right? We all have that. So go to chatwithkathi.com, free session, no sales thing. It's just trying to put you on your path, so to speak. And if you want to work together, then we work together. But either way, you're going to walk away with a little bit more insight into you, because we can't see ourselves oftentimes.
That's awesome. And to be clear, it's not just physical organization. It can be computer, it can be mind, it can be anything that needs purpose, structure, organization. Is that right?
Yeah. And I say I organize space, time, data, and objects. So, I don't organize your brain, but through organizing any of those other things, clicks.
Yeah, that would be scary if you could organize somebody's brain.
I have therapists who refer their clients to me, who are just like, your clients are not ready to move forward, but then they'll send it to me and I'll teach them how to start letting go of things. And then they'll go back to therapy and they're able to work it through. The working on your brain is scary. Just like you said, Tom, it's intimidating, but just to start on easy things so you don't have a lot of sparks around.
Yeah. Maybe start with a desk. I have a pretty clean desk, so I won't show it, but yeah.
Start with any pile that's laying around. Any pile. Just get rid of the pile and that will free up.
I'm looking at my cable drawer. Oh.
Indecision, procrastination, avoidance. You know what the cable drawer is? We're procrastinating. We have no idea. Oh, it's indecision. We have no idea if it's supposed to be hooking up something.
Hey, I might need that 3.5-inch floppy drive that's sitting down at some point. Somebody somewhere might
give you a CD.
Awesome.
That's funny.
Thank you again, Kathi, for spending your time and in sharing your wisdom with us. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. This has been fun. I love talking about this subject. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. And to our dear listeners and viewers, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode. Make sure you're checking out what Kathi's doing. We're going to put all of that down in the show notes. So just click away, chat with Kathi, and get organized, get clear, add some space to your life. And if you could do me a little favor while you're down there clicking away in the show notes, there might be a little review button. So if you could give the show a rating and review, I'd certainly appreciate that. It helps to share the show with those that need the advice. So until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show. hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.